Kwanza. I think the president is on the right track. Just the other day, Kenyan's report on status of economy internationally has improved.
Okay.
We have been paying our loans. We have not defaulted in the loans that we have been paying. And you know very well that one of our biggest problems is that, as at that time, our biggest problem is the amount of loans that we have was taking up to about 70% of our GDP. And we have to struggle and pay. We cannot start blaming the former president for what we did. But as a nation, we need to accept that we have done fairly well. Kenya is on the right track. There may be small issues here and there, but the problem we are facing is guys who have been weaponized, like who would not want to unite the country. Yes, we may have our differences, and there is nothing wrong for those in opposition to point out weakness.
Okay. So Charles, you have pointed out largely a synopsis of the plan by the Kenya Kwanza, talking about housing, agriculture, health. Of course, I'll be holding you to account on many fronts. Let's first begin with the housing aspects. And according to data by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, it pointed out that currently the centralized platform for the housing program, Boma Yangu, as we had seen, reported approximately 300,000 registered members. However, only 10% of these members are active savers. And therefore, doesn't this then raise the question, if the majority of people are aware of the housing program, why are so few willing to register or save for the program?
I would want to say that sometimes the information that we sell out is very important. When issues like housing programs come in, it's important that people are exposed to the importance of having these houses. But you see, when we criticize 100%, then you tend to make a number of people who are potential buyers or who are potential savers find themselves in a situation that they are in doubt.
So you are from our communication center. How then do you communicate? Because this is a scientific data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, which ought to be forming the policy direction, informing the policy direction by the state. Then how then do you communicate that messaging to get it right? Because so few Kenyans are at the moment on that program, for example, and they are unwilling to register or save. Then how do you then counter that misinformation?
We may not say that they are unwilling. You know very well that majority of Kenyans who buy or purchase, majority of us are civil servants. And you've known the problem that we have had in the past, where out of payment of loans and many other things, you find that it's very heavy on many people's pay slips. And the government is struggling to try their level best to ensure that the economy is stabilized. Because when people are still struggling with the economy, you don't expect many people to purchase. So as the economy improves, I hope we are going to have to see more people purchasing this house.
Okay, so economy, we talk about bread, butter, everything that Kenyans put on the table. Senator Manzo, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, there was a very good morning to you on the part of your fellow colleagues representing the delegation from Migori.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. It's almost the end of the month. Love having you here.
I haven't seen it, that's why I'm saying.
And he apparently pointed you as one of the cheerleaders in chief for Gachagua. How true is that?
No, first of all, it's not factual, and this is a problem with Kenya Kwanza. A lot of lies. Back then, you know when we got attacked those days, when he tried to demonstrate, and I was in the first demonstration, and as we approached Serena, we were met with bullets. The person who was in full command of the country was William Ruto. So it is William Ruto who gave instructions for us to be fired. And it was, a very bad way of doing it, because the law requires any person managing riots to first give a declaration, to a proclamation, and give people about 15 minutes to disperse and indicate reasons as to why that assembly is unlawful or a stand chaotic. That never happened. A lot of people have died all the way up to today, and I think this has been the biggest abuse of human rights in the country, including the abductions. Charles here has been in the police, and I've had an opportunity to engage the police as an advocate in this country. There is nothing the police takes seriously as murder, abduction, robbery. Anybody with a gun or even handcuffs. The police moves very fast. They may be slow in other things, but when it comes to security of the people, there is nothing, the police spares to counter that. So I'm very surprised currently when the police, even IPOA, says that we are not concerned about this, we don't know these people. If you look at the case of Gaido, the senior journalist, when he was attacked, he even fled to a police station. And to his surprise, those fellows who were abducting him communicated quickly with the officers who were there. And the officers were forcing him into a probox, which is not even a GK car. So it is somewhere on Langata Road when they communicated, we have arrested the wrong Gaido. We were looking for the one of Thika. They abandoned him in the streets. So you can see the police aided, kidnappers, and we have presented that evidence in court. In fact, today is a very great day because Justice Muita, after he was taken round in circles, be requested by very tough lawyers to break the constitution, he said no. The IG must report to him today. We are going to court at 11. I hope the IG will show up because there are a lot of lies being peddled around, and we will be there to ask the IG on this very serious matter of security. A lot of young people have been found dead, and the others picked. Like in the case of water, somebody drops a dead body in a hospital, or somebody who is dying, and then they say, I'm a good Samaritan, I've just assisted, and they leave the person there. And then it is upon others to identify who that person. We suspect these are some of the missing people, and quite a number of, close to 100 people have been missing. On the issue of housing, that is the biggest lie ever told.
We'll talk about specifics here, because, yes. Ahmed, I give you this, because Senator mentions and points out a very fundamental issue of human rights. Because if you look at the catalogue of human rights violations that began under the Kenyatta Ruto and Ruto Rigathi and now Ruto Kindiki, certainly they point to one trajectory, and that is the consistency and perpetuity within which they have been happening. I mean, how can this be addressed? Because isn't it a grave concern that Kenya is no longer a safe haven for its citizens and foreigners?
I was shocked by the statements of the DP, I think day before yesterday. When they were loading a political party by Mr. Omalu, I believe.
On Monday?
On Monday, yeah.
The former deputy president?
The former deputy president. I was really shocked because his whistleblowing, even though there's a line in Shakespeare that says, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, the whistleblowing is grounds for impeaching the president through the National Assembly. Because there's high crimes and misdemeanors in impeaching the president. And I think what they were talking about was misdemeanors and allegedly high crimes, because when you start saying that there's a couple of Indians inside the State House for 5 hours and the rest of the government is locked outside, I mean, that's a shocking allegation against the honor of the president. That's number one. Number two, I think that what the president is doing is that he's now way past being an autocrat. He has now assumed the awesome powers of an imperial presidency because he has killed the judiciary, the National Assembly. We know what's going on. I mean, it's an open secret on the streets. The tribal coalition that is in the National Assembly is appalling. When the philosophy of the country is based on the thinking of Farouk Kibet, we are lost. We really are lost. And I think that my former party members here are sitting in the government, and the experience of being in an opposition or trying to be a talisman in this country so that we can get a better Kenya is based on a philosophy that the Kikuyus refused to give us the vote, and they have now their comeuppance. You know what a comeuppance is? It means that when you get the revenge cycle is what Kenya now stands for. It's just appalling. The politics of the social democratic movement in this country is being killed by the man who's in charge of it, or the captain himself, who has shaken hands with the most right-wing president we've had in this country since independence. Probably in the same level as Jomo Kenyatta and Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. He is trying to turn the clock back. He's trying to change the constitution. He's trying to extend his term. He's abducting people who don't agree with him. I'm surprised that I'm still going to my house in the evening, even though there's a lot of cars that follow me sometimes. And because maybe I worked with him at the Pentagon as a strategist, and I was, in charge of that thing. And maybe he knows where my heart is, and it's truly patriotism in the country is dead.